Hi guys, we are in week 11 and you should have finished the Crucible last week, so you read Act 4. And we're also going to work on our embedded assessment this week, so you have that play script to write. But first, I just kind of wanted to wrap up the Crucible and what we saw there. Hopefully you finished either reading it or watching it in some way or another. And hopefully you saw what Arthur Miller was trying to show us, right? That this hysteria can just totally get out of control and ruin people's lives. It ruined an entire community. All of Salem, by the end of the story, is just in shambles. The farms aren't looking good. People are moving away. It's just everybody's like lost their jobs. People are being hanged or in jail. So everything is just because of this hysteria that they let themselves get caught up in, because they cared so much about their reputations and so much about looking Christian and looking a certain way rather than being a certain way, like actually being, they were more concerned about looking Christian than actually being Christian, right? And that just caused mass destruction of people's lives in the community. So there's a lesson to be learned there for all of us, right? Also kind of interesting at the end, they're so concerned about their reputation, Danforth and Hawthorne, that they've got all these people in jail, right? And they want them to confess because they've already hanged a bunch of people, and they don't want to, they kind of know that they've made a mistake, right? They know that they shouldn't have hanged these people. But in order to make those hangings look legit, like they were okay to do, they want the other people to confess to like validate those hangings. So they're in this situation where, I mean, they're wrapped up in this reputation that they can't even admit that they've done wrong to free the people who are still alive. John Proctor too, right? He's in jail. And they want him to confess. And at first he says, oh yeah, he'll confess. But then they want to like parade his confession around and nail it to the church door and all this crazy stuff because they want to just make a big deal out of it. And he's like, well, no, I'm not going to let you do that. And Giles Corey was crushed to death because he wasn't going to admit to something he didn't do. So just tons of destruction, right? Because of all this hysteria and being wrapped up in a certain way that they wanted to look. So hopefully you enjoyed that or enjoyed the lesson or had fun watching it or whatever you did. Now you're going to write a script, right? So that's your job this week. You are going to write your script. Like we talked about last week, you're going to want to make sure it's like an issue of concern in your own life that could shed some light on a bigger social concern. I actually put an example in here. This is a short one, so yours is going to be longer than this. I'm sorry. But there's an example in the announcements that kind of shows, it's called Hipster Hobos, about people who go to coffee shops and have their laptops out, and then the other people who actually want to go there and hang out and have coffee don't have a place to sit because everybody's there on their laptop. So it's kind of a funny little skit that shows like a bigger social issue of how people are addicted to technology and that sort of thing. And what it does for the community when all these people are addicted. What does that do to other people in the community? So there is a bigger social issue, but it's kind of funny to read. So like I mentioned last week, you guys might have more fun with this if you kind of like take a comedy slant on it. But you don't have to. You can do whatever film script you want. Just make sure, think about, I've got the graphic organizer up there. Think about your conflict, how that conflict's going to be introduced. Think about your setting. Think about the character's involvement, what they're going to say, how they're going to say it. Think about their tone, the syntax they're going to use. Remember, you're probably not going to write like the Puritans talked. I wouldn't create characters like that. You could though, if you wanted to. How are you going to organize it? Make sure you use the proper conventions. So you're doing like the character's name, a colon, and then what they say, or you're putting in parentheses or italics the stage directions. Very important to make sure you include those stage directions telling me what the character is doing while they're saying that line, how their facial expressions might be, what tone they might be using in that line. So include all that, all right? So that's your only job this week. So this is really short little video here. So get those turned into me. You might also have some time to get caught up on some other work if this script doesn't take you as long. But I'm here to help if you need me, all right? So holler, give me an email, and I can help you guys if you need it, all right? I'll see you next week.